So, we've gone from vendors, we've created customers, expense receipts, have we talked about that?
No, that's money going out.
Okay. And is that something that's within here, or did it changes really?
Oh no, basically, we just start paying for things. What are you actually paying for? Are you paying for people?
Let's go pay for some of our POs.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. We'll probably need to add some permissions, and we'll kind of go from there, okay? So,
Are we starting, or are you waiting?
I'll go ahead and start. Do you guys want to follow along? You want me to talk this to Ethan? Do you want me to talk in general?
I need to know how to do it too. So.
Okay, perfect. We're going to pay for these POs that we've created now, okay?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we need a couple pieces that, like, you can't just say, cool, I'm just going to start paying for these. One, you have to have the permissions. Two, we have to have a bank, because eventually an expense is tied to a bank. Meaning I have to pay something, okay? So we're going to go set up some permissions real quick. We'll come right back here. And I'll try to fly through it. Do you want me to explain it or more of a...
Kind of fly through it, and if we need to stop you, we'll ask a question.
Okay, great. So, from the home page, we're going to users.
Okay, I got that right.
Yep. We're then going to your own name. We're going to click on some permissions. And we are basically going to scroll down. The first one, let's start from the top. Just kind of scroll down. Keep coming down, and I'll stop you. Okay, expense receipt. It's a green one.
Got it.
It's under system search. I'm going to come down a little bit further. And we're going to keep coming to the next section. We're going to skip everything there. We're going to keep coming down. I'm on system time and request. Keep coming all the way through that. System reports. We're going to go halfway. Okay? There's a thing called running bank balances. It's purple. You're going to probably want that guy.
System reports, I just missed that.
Correct. So system reports. Running bank balance, it's purple. Purple, pink, you get it. Sort of purplish. Okay, we're going to... Magenta, is that what you would call that? Okay, we're going to keep coming down. Okay. We're now into system assets. We're probably going to fly through this pretty fast because there's not really anything in the assets. Okay, when we get to system liabilities, we're going to have a number of things, okay?
Should we go ahead and click while we're here, deposits?
If you want. Eventually we would just have to come back and do it.
Let's do deposits. I like to do a quick deposit.
Okay.
Where was that one in?
Why were we were just
you know what, we can come back. We'll make sure we have them. I didn't turn them on yet either, so okay. It's okay. I'm in system liabilities. We're going to do a couple things to get some things paid. Basic expense receipts. We're going to turn on admin, which allows us a number of other features within that. We're going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to do a couple more right here. Basic payables and admin payables. And there's a number of different features. You just need to kind of read to see what they do, okay? We're going to keep coming down. The next thing we're at is system maintenance. And basically what we're looking for here is banks. Scroll down till you see banks. There's one that says added expense type. I didn't get all the way to banks yet. But we're going to do added expense types, and if eventually you're going to do deposit types. This is virtually like the part section for an expense, okay? It's how you start categorizing what your line items are for. We're going to come down and eventually we'll get to added bank. Okay, we go. All right there. There was a bunch in that one.
Expense type and deposit type.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Do you have a suggested permissions for what you're doing?
Yeah, I think that's good.
For every single thing?
That would be a neat thing to do.
You should.
What was his question?
He said, do you have a recommended thing for, like, if you have somebody who's doing this, what do they need to do?
That's a really good thing.
But isn't that what the color is?
The color helps you kind
Yeah,
of
it helps
generally
you, but
know
it doesn't
the
tell you
level,
what to check.
the level of like how deep it is, okay? But that's really
But
good.
it would make it easy when I walk into a company, if I can already have it categorized out, saying, these are kind of parameters, of course you have freedom to do what you want, but these are the kind of parameters right away. Wow, that would really help me. Because right now,
It's a big list, my friend.
I'm getting nervous in my head knowing, well, which one, I don't want to forget to tell them every time. That's really good. You have a lot of brain power in your family there, Brandon.
Awesome. Well, I get it from them, absolutely. Okay, so we've added a whole bunch in system liabilities. Let's go to the top of that so we can make sure we get everything we want, just of this category.
Okay.
Okay, actually, I'm in system maintenance right now. Are we in system maintenance? Is this where we're at? Let's go to the top of system maintenance, just so we make sure we have what we want. And are you there?
Yes.
Okay, top of system maintenance. You should have photo management. We've got some flex grid stuff tied on. We have customers. We're going clear down. We have vendors. We're in some purple ones right below the first blue one. Add edit expense types, add edit deposit types. These are all admin type permissions, okay? We're going to scroll down a ways and we're going to get some more purple ones. We need to add edit bank. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to come all the way down to the very bottom, we're almost there anyway, and say edit the payee. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and go home. So we have two different ways we can pay these things. We can do manual or we can do non-manual, okay? We have a bunch of tools that are actually set up to help you. Because we created a PO, automatically anything that's been received and tied to a vendor, it automatically shows up in our AP vendor waiting room, okay? That's who we owe, alrighty? But realize it won't show up there. If you haven't added a PO, it's like, it has no clue that it's there, okay? So here's what we're going to do.
So if you've done a PO, it's wait in the waiting room.
It's waiting in the waiting room.
Because
it has no clue. It's like, well, I imagine somebody's going to have to pay for me at some point. And this is the difference between operations and accounting, okay? If you're just doing your operations, if you enter the PO, as soon as you're done entering the PO, it's live. Those items are already been loaded into the chutes. They're ready to be sold, okay? If you're planning on doing any portion of the tracking and did I pay for this and did this kind of stuff, technically, as soon as I created that inventory, I now have a thing called an accounts payable, okay? So we're going to go to the AP waiting room. That's the accounts payable section. We're going to click on it. And we're going to kind of pick on, here's a whole bunch of POs that we owe for right now. If I scroll down, we're currently at $4,000, 4793, okay? We've got a whole bunch of money that we owe. It's not a huge deal, but let's do yours, okay? We're going to pick on Honeyville. Grab Honeyville vendor, follow it across until you get to the actual PO. And then go ahead and click on that. What this is virtually doing, I'm still actually on my payables homepage. I'm just looking at a different view of that now. Instead of a grouped view, I'm like, hey, I just want this, and I'm also going to filter it by a vendor. Okay? We just did a simple click, but virtually all we're doing is switching the view. We're getting tighter. Okay? So now what I see is hey, here's this PO. Looks like Ethan created it. It's PO 19. It was actually done today. I can't click on it yet. See how this box is grayed out? It won't let me click on it?
Yeah.
Okay, the reason is right over here. There's another step. In order for me to say, yeah, I'm going to let you pay for that, we have to this thing we call a verify. Did I really get what I have, and is it really in? And here's how we can do it. Because you have the admin permissions, we're going to click on this little guy right here. Click. There's a little thing that says verify the PO. And you say, yep. This is basically, you have to think of it linear and putting a stamp on it. Yep, this is good. The reason that this is here...
Where did you go to get that?
No problem, no problem. I was back at the same spot. I just clicked on Honeyville.
Yes. And
I see one PO, but I can't really click on the pay button. So I came over to the link that says not yet, under verified.
Okay.
If I click on that, it takes me right to this PO.
Mine says sorry, error.
What does your error say?
You do not have permission.
You must not have turned on the PO admin page. Okay?
Okay.
And so that's a different permission. How can we fix that really quick?
Users.
Awesome, let's go fix it. I'll show you where it's at, okay? Boom. You land on the home page, you go to users. You click on yourself. Then I wouldn't even scroll down. I'd say, I already know where this is at, but this is probably going to be a system liability issue. POs are a liability. So I'd say system liabilities. And here's the guy that you're missing right there, this first purple one.
Purchase order admin?
Purchase order admin, okay? You're going to need that guy. Scroll to the bottom and submit. Okay, let's all return to the home page. We're gonna do that same path again. He didn't have the permissions. Okay? AP waiting room. We're gonna find Honeyville. Scroll over to the PO section. Click on it. Ah, somebody already verified it for us. We could actually go in and see who it done. No, it's okay. But do you see that it's checkable now?
Yep.
So you got to realize we're playing in a different environment. So what ends up happening in that scenario is we're actually tracking the history, okay? But we're all on the same team. And the more you can learn that, the more the system starts making a lot of sense, okay? Yes?
I see where it says received. Does it need as a payable, as a PO, an AP, a date when due? Should be a date due?
Okay, that's a great question, and right now we don't have that field on a PO as far as like when it's due or what's the vendor terms or this type of thing. It will start aging it, but technically there's not a when is this due right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know all my assistants would have, none of my bills would have gotten paid.
That's okay. That's okay. Basically, once you get people into this mode and they're able to start watching this, if you have
They
something,
see a 30-day count.
if you have this thing, they're like, oh, I better get on that. Oh, I better get on that. Like they're going to be watching it and monitoring it. But we haven't really had that many complaints. Usually it's up front, like, oh, I need this, I need this. Usually once they get in there, they flow pretty full. Okay, now that somebody verified it, Sherry, oh, thank you. Now we can actually technically click this.
Creature of habit will pay that bill.
Yeah,
So now we can click the pay button. We're not all going to do this because it'll end up putting multiple payments towards it. But I'll let you actually be the one to commit it, okay? So basically what this does is it says, hey, we're going to start paying for this PO. And it could be multiple POs. Click, 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 click. Like depending on what you have for funding and depending on what is due. Alrighty? So you could potentially have multiple ones.
And it doesn't have to be just that vendor. I could do multiple vendors.
Okay, you can. You're going to have to do it slightly different, okay? Why in the world would you be sending a check for vendor A, B, C, D, and E?
Right, so that's what I'm saying. In other words, I'm picking all of that Honeyville I want to do and send it in for a check, and so each vendor I'm going to do separately for the system.
Correct. I can't multitask very good, okay?
But if I had 4 Honeyvilles,
Then I could do 4.
I might as well pay them all, is what you're saying. Put 'em all in.
Absolutely. Okay, keep it straight, okay? You're in that vendor path, okay? But if you want to play multiple ones, there are actually ways you can do it, but you have to do it manually because the system's like, I don't know who to connect to. Like, if you want to go random, you can go random, but the path
Going rogue.
is vendor specific, okay?
Okay.
Cool. So we clicked on one. He's going to come down. Basically what he's doing is he's starting to create an expense receipt, okay? Eventually this is going to tie to a bank. Eventually it's going to tie to a type, which will end up going clear out to income statement or balance sheet. Like you're starting to create some further little things that are happening. So let's just rock through here. Boom. I'm going to do 1,000. If I happen to know a special number or a statement number, I can enter it. I can click here, money type. What's my bank that I'm going to do? Like we haven't even talked about bank. You automatically get a generic default bank, which you can change to North High Country or whatever you wanted to call it.
Right now, you put default.
Yeah, just do default bank right now, and let's just do a
Check
random
number
check.
12.
Perfect. So you're going to scroll down, go ahead and skip the transaction number field. The last one is how do you want this to be assigned? And this right here,
Are we talking expense accounts here?
okay, this is actually getting clear into the expense account level. That's correct. Okay. Often you've heard a thing called chart of accounts and some of these different things. Well, what we do is we have an expense types that you can do. Because chart of accounts ranges all over the board. I have a chart of account for cash and this and this and this. This is like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're just dealing with expenses. So we call it an expense type. And you can set them up and they have tons and tons of neat things. And if you're not sure, you can even create one that says, I don't know. And then your accountant or whoever's your admin person can actually help you sweep that little thing out later on, okay? So right here, I'm going to recommend that you put it under inventory, okay? And you're going to say create the receipt. Don't click this. Let's have Ethan just do it.
Did it.
Okay, what's your expense receipt number?
Number 1.
Okay, perfect. So watch this.
Kinda
I'm
good.
going to come up here to my quick search so I can get there. And I'm going to do expense receipt. Number 1, go. Click. So I see that we paid Honeyville $1,000. Ethan did it. payments for some POs, and I actually see all these different little things. I even see a thing that says, are you ready to print the check? Okay?
Now, if you didn't have enough money in your bank account, would it throw up an error statement?
No.
Okay.
No. There are totally ways to monitor that bank account. What you have to realize is a bank, virtually, if you were to look at the map, just a quick little, I'll bounce to the map real quick, okay? Look at this. Expense receipts and deposits are tied to the bank. Okay, banks, in the model, I wanted to put them in here. Technically, a bank is outside of your model.
That's right.
And you could have 50 of them. You could have multiple ones. But for the model, it's basically like expense receipt and deposits go to banks. And eventually they tie over
It's
here.
not literally a bank, it's just,
It's my virtual banks, okay? And so, like, we are not directly tied to, you know, Zion's Bank here in Utah or something like that. So what you do is you have external things. It's just the visual placeholder on the map, okay? You can't fit the bank right there. Like, it really doesn't fit. But that's kind of the model, if you will, okay? So what we did is, here's the basic thing. The vendor came in, we created a PO, we added items. All of a sudden, we're populating this general inventory pool. Because we haven't paid for it, the PO migrates itself up to the AP waiting room. We go visit the AP waiting room and we say, cool, let's pay for it. We say, cool, yep, we're going to pay for it. We're going to assign it to this bank, and it ends up writing on an expense receipt, okay? So expense receipt 1 took this whole process and says, oh, I'm now going to pull some money out of the bank. Does that make sense how that kind of flow?
and that's usually when the accountant takes over.
Correct, like depending on the permissions and depending on, like, it also depends on the size of your business. When we built this thing, our original model was 15 locations spread across states, different little hubs of this and this and this, and so we had to break it up into these things. If I'm just a sole mom and pop, you're kind of like, well, why do I have to verify it? I just put it in. You have to realize that in order to break up these modules, you basically have to say, whoa, 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 not everybody's a mom and pop, okay? You might have somebody who's like, they're passing it on. Okay, cool. I've got this. Yep, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Oh, Johnny, we need to talk. Like, okay, so the model is set up in this fashion, whereas if you're just a mom and pop, you're kind of, how to do an extra step there. The whole thing is set up for permissions in case it needs to grow, and that's kind of the way it goes.